How to add takeoff parameters to an older project. So there's a couple of takeoff parameters that are new and they are on the standard template when you create a job, but some of these older jobs need some of these takeoff parameters. One is, an example is for our glass tags. When we first started doing G units, the glass tags were actually out to the edge of glass, not to our DLO. So one of these parameters helps us with that to bring in our glass tag to DLO, and then it has bytes. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you two methods of adding them individually and then transferring project standards from a newer project to an older project. So just to show you guys real quick. So to look at these takeoff components, specifically the ones that I'm looking at, they are under the project information in the manage tab, project information. And what we're looking for is this data section. We only have a default continuity right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the standard template just to show you guys what we should have. So go here, go to the S drive, Revit, standard template, standard project template, hit open. Okay, should be opening now.
We usually, if the sales model made on an older template, we're trying to override it on a newer template and draft it anyway. I'm just curious. I heard something about it. We're not proceeding on the older template. Not on that one.
No idea on that.
It's more like a change question.
So if I opened it, go to manage project information, we can see here that there's 3 items and not just one. So for us, the first way is to add them individually. And so how you add them individually is you would open project parameters and go to add. And what you want to do, it's a shared parameter, and you want to select that parameter. And then you would want to select a group, which in this case, it's a takeoff parameter. Go in here, look for the one you need, which is one of them is generic model infill method. Hit OK. And then in the parameter data, we would want to group the parameter under data. And then under the categories, we want to make sure this is under project information. Hit OK. And OK. Now, if we go to project information, you have that under your data. So here
basically,
we will.
You look up what you need and you add it to your current project, is what you're saying, right?
Right. Hit OK.
Can I suggest one thing here? So can you group those 3 parameters on the separate group? So in that way, everybody will know that these 3 parameters. Otherwise,
I think the next method might be the best thing to do. This method was just choosing individually if you need them. Okay. But I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Gabe. Would the transfer project standards be the best thing to do when doing this?
You try it. We learned it. We tried yesterday, but.
So what we do is transfer. The second method would be transferring project standards, as it says there. Let's see. When you hover over it, it copies selected project settings from another open project to the current project that you have. So as we opened up the standard template project one, we'll go back to our project that we're working on. We'll click on transfer. And so what we do here is, I think since it's just the project information that we want, we would check none and just go down to project information or project parameters.
Some parameters won't transfer with this method, so I don't know if you guys tested it out or not, but I'm just putting that out there to make sure you test it.
Yeah, we didn't.
I just did this morning and it worked, at least for this case.
Yeah,
Let's see if it
it
works.
depends on the parameter. I'm just, that's what I'm saying. Just make sure you test it.
For sure. So project parameters, hit OK. Go back into the project info. And now we have 3 instead of 2 instead of 1 that we had initially. So this project parameter one works. So on our end, if this, I guess the suggestion would be is if you have an older job, we would at least need these 3 project parameters for the takeoff group. So if you could do us a favor and just look under the project information and see if these 3 exist. If they don't exist, we would just use the transfer project standards as we just did and upload those. But just wanted to show everybody how it's done. This is something that we would probably check during our setup stage and takeoff, because the main one that helps us, like I said, is the glass tags are not to the edge of glass. They are done to the DLO, which then those drive our dimensions on our unit assembly drawings to give us the correct width of the mullion if it's a jam 2 3/4 typical, right? So just wanted to show and tell a little bit on what that is.
And the reason this came up was that Zach has made some improvements in how the tags are coming in based on what that template is doing. And we weren't aware of that. So we were getting some behavior that we weren't expecting. The unit assembly drawings weren't showing the tags like we expect them. And so the dimension strings on the unit drawings were weird. Once we went through this together yesterday, he showed us this method to be able to bring in the information from that newer version of the template. So we thought we'd take this opportunity to advertise that, right? So thanks, Pedro, great job.
No, thanks Gabe and Zach for that one.